7 hills in Florida's capital city, covering every corner of the Big Bend. This is the award-winning News 20 at 5 Live.
After a close call in this year's midterm elections, Florida voters have selected their head of state. Welcome to News 20 at 5. I'm Gabrielle Dawkins.
And I'm Jonathan Long. Thanks for joining us. Republican Governor Rick Scott will be in office for another 4 years. Governor Scott defeated Democrat contender Charlie Crist 48 to 47% in the Tuesday night election. Now, while Democrat Gwen Graham beat out two-term Representative Steve Sutherland for the 2nd congressional district seat. Winners of the Leon County races include Bill Proctor as the county commissioner for District 1 and Nick Maddox as the county commissioner at large for Group 2.
Mayor-elect Andrew Gillum got a jump start on the voting fun. Multimedia journalist Asia Johnson got an exclusive interview with Tallahassee's next mayor to find out his major concerns for the capital city.
Mayor-elect Andrew Gillum says he has big plans for the capital city. One of his concerns is uniting different sides of Tallahassee.
In this city, we ought not be a tale of two cities. We're one capital city, and our experience here should not be so extremely different depending upon the side of town you live on. And so I've got to provide some mayoral leadership that begins to close that gap.
Gillum has served as a county commissioner for 12 years, having been the youngest councilman ever elected in Tallahassee. Gillum says his alma mater, Florida A&M University, molded him into the political leader that he is today.
And that kind of fierce competition against excellence. Iron sharpens iron, as they say. And so I got to sharpen my iron against some pretty talented people on the Hill.
City manager Anita Favors-Thompson, who's worked closely with Gillum since his election, says he's successful because of his work ethic, among other things.
Was always a very, very bright, intelligent, articulate person who would do his homework.
Although he's been elected mayor, Gillum says his top priority is being a dad.
I want them to have good memories of their dad being there, so I look forward to being very with my kids over the next several years.
Mayor-elect Andrew Gillum will take his mayoral oath of office November 21st. For News 20 at 5, I'm Asia Johnson.
Ready to vote.
Gillum plans to create apprenticeship programs, job training programs, and build a safer Tallahassee.
And with the midterm election results in, we stepped out into the community to see why residents felt the need to exercise their right to vote.
Because I definitely want to have a say in my future as well as my children and whatever else I have to deal with in my daily life.
I just know that certain people have an impact on what I came to Florida for, which is school, FAMU to be exact. And I do know that if I don't get up and say something or do anything, then I leave my future or possibly my kids' future in the hands of someone I don't completely trust.
2 no's and 1 yes. That's what Florida voters decided on this midterm ballot.
And multimedia journalist Asia Johnson joins us live in the studio with a deeper look into what these measures mean. Asia.
Thanks, guys. 75% of voters said yes to Amendment 1. This means billions of dollars will be allotted to Florida conservation efforts over the next 20 years. The measure only needed 60% of votes to pass. And about half of the money will fund a conservation land purchasing program. But Amendments 2 and 3 did not have the same fate. Florida voters rejected the sale and distribution of medical marijuana. This amendment only had 57% of the yes votes, just shy of the 60% it needed to pass. Amendment 3 was also rejected in Florida. This measure would have determined which governor chooses Florida Supreme Court justices and appellate judges. The failure of this amendment means the incoming governor in 2019 will appoint 3 new Supreme Court justices. Live in the studio, I'm Asia Johnson. Back to you guys at the desk.
Asia, thank you. Florida State University has set a date for quarterback Jameis Winston's disciplinary hearing. Now, the hearing will take place during the week of November 17th. It will determine if Winston violated the student conduct code over an alleged rape. Former Florida Supreme Court Judge Major Harding will oversee the hearing. Harding will be tasked with producing a detailed finding of facts and determining a sanction if Winston violated the conduct code.
The history of the Frenchtown community is what adds on to the richness of Tallahassee. Many may wonder about the origins of this community, but multimedia journalist Brittany Collins has more.
A community of peace, unity, and success. That was the Frenchtown people knew growing up. Frenchtown is one of the oldest neighborhoods in Tallahassee. And with everything the area has been through, Daryl Scott, who didn't want her face shown on camera, says she loved growing up in the neighborhood.
Growing up in Frenchtown was wonderful. It was where we lived. Some of our parents worked there, and that's where we did our shopping. We played all of the standard games that kids played: jacks, jump rope, dodgeball.
Frenchtown was known for its small businesses, and for over 125 years, the residents had everything they needed in their community. Even their education was in front of them, and a majority of the African American children in Frenchtown attended Lincoln Academy until it closed in 1967. Jim Bellamy says hardly anyone had to go far for their necessities.
We could buy any clothes and shoes and stuff down at E&K, whatever, and then we could also buy stuff at McClory's, 5 and dime, and all that was available to people in the neighborhood at that particular time.
Frenchtown began many years ago as a war prize for a Frenchman, and over the years the community became an enclave for African American residents. But after the Vietnam War, the area began to change.
Young men coming home with various disabilities and dependencies. The activity in the clubs picked up.
To people who don't live in Frenchtown, they may view it as a challenging area, or they may say many homeless people live there, so it's not as safe. But Jim says the area just needs to be worked on.
This is not a ghetto. It's a place that's undeveloped that needs to be developed. You need some housing. You look where we're standing. Turn around and look. You can see that'd be a nice grocery store there, wouldn't it? The land is available, but I mean, you got to have vision, you know what I'm saying, to be able to see what it is.
Other groups of people outside of the African American race have moved into Frenchtown. And even though some residents have moved out, they still find their way back to where it all started.
One of the things that I know is that people are in the Frenchtown area by choice, not by chance.
For News 20 at 5, I'm Brittany Collins.
For more information on Frenchtown, visit FrenchtownHeritage.org.
In Leon County, voters approved the extension of the blueprint sales tax for an additional 20 years. The referendum earned nearly 2/3 of the vote, with 65% saying yes. Supporters of the initiative say it was vital for funding road and water projects. And multimedia journalist Taylor Bishop is joining us live in the Multimedia Newsroom with more details on the impact of this initiative. Taylor.
Thanks, Donovan. The current penny sales tax was approved back in 2000. It was set to expire if not renewed in 2019, designating nearly $38 million per year. That has helped and generate for the new funding for Cascade Park, the implementing of a stormwater system, and implementing a new road work for Capitol Circle. That has helped generate nearly $90 million per year. Live for you guys in the Multimedia Newsroom, I'm Taylor Bishop. Now back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Taylor. Pedestrians might not have to look twice when crossing the street. 2 pedestrian traffic signals were added on Tennessee Street today. The signals are located near the intersection of Dewey and Tennessee. They will give pedestrians the right of way to cross the street, and the signals are a part of a $4.3 million project to improve Tennessee Street.
Now, Gabby, let's take a really quick sneak peek of what's happening in the weather. It's
Right.
getting hot, then it's cold.
Cold. It's just lukewarm. I don't know.
I don't know what's going on. But Brittany, how about you tell us what's going on?
Thanks, guys. I'm Brittany Collins with a quick look at your midweek forecast. And it's like you said before, it's pretty cold and some days it's hot. And as you can see, we're going to be pretty cloudy all week long. The weather's going to be pretty nice, a little bit of sun, but also some clouds as well. That's a quick look at your week ahead. There'll be more later on.
Straight ahead on News 20 at 5, can helping the homeless lead to time behind bars? Well, it did for a few people.
And later, it's a special year for Berlin. We'll show you why. Don't move a muscle. We'll be right back after the break.